Hi, and welcome to today's podcast. My name is Carl Smith. I'm the owner and business coach at Concept Fitness Consultancy. The intention of these podcasts is to offer support to trainers and coaches, and probably right now more than ever, then there shouldn't be a shortage of help available. My intention is that these podcasts will last around 20 minutes in duration, hence the name. The podcast, which is 20 questions in 20 minutes. And each week I'll interview a different coach and trainer that's making it work right now. If you've got any questions, please just drop a comment in the comments box below. But right now, I'd like to introduce you to Calum Kitscha. Calum, are you there, buddy?
Hi, Carl, you all right?
Super, mate. Good, thank you. I've known Calum, I think, for about 3 years now. I think we met on one of my training events. Calum's got an experience of both sides of PT. He's been both employed and self-employed. And over the first lockdown, Calum supported me with some online workout content, and I've got to say it was pretty engaging stuff. So I'm hoping today that Calum might share a few of his stories that with regards to how he's adapted his business and how he's managed to maintain his client base over this very strange year. So Calum, can I ask you to introduce yourself? And firstly, thank you for jumping on today. I appreciate it, mate. And if you can introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about how you started your business and why.
No, you're welcome, Carl. Thank you. So my name's Calum Kitscha. I'm a personal trainer. Been so for a few years now. I work at Exercise for Less in Harlow. As you just said, Carl, been employed to begin with, self-employed now for coming up 12 months. And I'd been a professional footballer for sort of years 18 up to 23, 24. And so strength and conditioning had always been like a big part of my daily routines, I guess you could say. And so when I came out of that, it was something that I always held an interest in, loved going to the gym. Already had quite a good base knowledge and understanding of quite a lot of things, whether it was nutrition, anything really, any of the movements. So without having that qualification, so I thought that it was something that I could jump straight into, and it wouldn't mean that I'd have to go and do like a 2, 3, 4 year university course. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but I wanted to do something that I could jump into straight away. And then, applied for an employed role at Exercise for Less, and still there at the moment.
Good man. And you said you've been operating now for, was it 3 years now? So a year as self-employed?
I'm coming up 2 years now. So so I was self-employed. No, sorry, I was employed. I started Jan 19. So at the turn of year, I'll be 2 years. I was until December 19. I was employed, and then again, without going into too much detail, but the job roles changed at Exercise for Less, and they said, look, like you can stay employed, and it's going to be a very low hourly, for low hours per week, or you can go self-employed. This is your rent. I'd been doing it 12 months, so it was perfect for me because I managed to get people coming through the door for consultations, inductions when I was employed, and it meant that I'd built up my client base, and it meant that it would be affordable for me to be self-employed.
Good way to start then, potentially. What do you prefer? Are you having experience of both? What did you prefer? Was employed or self-employed the thing for you?
100% what I'm doing at the moment, being self-employed. I can pick my hours. I can pick what I charge. Obviously not the most important thing, but you need to make a living. I can pick what I charge. I can choose which classes I want to pick up and which ones I don't want to pick up. Everyone wants to work for themselves, really, don't they? And it's been brilliant. Everyone that starts, there's been a few new guys and girls that have started at Exercise for Less in Harlow, and I've said to them, like, look, if obviously you're here, brilliant, but if there is an opportunity where you can go and be employed, and you know that at the end of the month you're going to have that in your back pocket, and you know that there's going to be people coming in for consultations and inductions, that's really going to be the best way forward. So the way that I did it, I don't think I'd be here now if I was self-employed from the get-go. I don't think I'd be here, because it's so difficult and it's so competitive trying to get people to come and train with you. And my job is I want to help everyone, but it is difficult and it is really competitive. And I think you have to go through that phase where I think you have to be employed to begin with, unless you've got, you're given your own space, your own equipment, and your own gym. Pretty much, I think it's going to be really, really hard for you to sort of make a business. If you just go diving straight self-employed. There will be people that do it, but I think, the way for me was how it worked at Exercise for Less. I was employed to give people their free PT sessions, and I was employed to give them their consultations and inductions and take the classes, putting you in front of people every single week. People in the gym get to know you. And then, when it changed over, it was brilliant because, as I said, I could drop the things that I didn't need to do anymore. And it meant that I had more time to focus on my business.
Well, I suppose the industry's changing, isn't it? I think that there seems to be more employed roles now, whether they're a hybrid of the two, where some of it's self-employed, some of it's employed, or there's certainly the industry's changing, and maybe starting to appreciate that, which is good news. I know you deliver one-to-one. Do you do group sessions as well, or?
Yeah, so I do. I'm doing the classes at the moment. I still do a couple of classes a week. Again, I think it's important because people in the club, you know how it is, Carl. Like, you're in the club and you see people there, the same people, the regulars every single day. And we have the Friday morning group when I do sort of a total body workout, and it's a good atmosphere, and it's a good, again, it puts you in front of people, and I enjoy doing them as well. So yeah, I do the classes, do one-to-ones, I do group training as well. But that ranges from, I have husbands and wives that train together. I have friends that train together in two-to-ones. And then I sort of run my own kind of a class, kind of like a hybrid large group PT. I do like a circuit session. Was doing a circuit session on a Saturday morning. I thought it's a good opportunity. Everyone pretty much is around on a Saturday morning. Most 95% of people are. So yeah, doing sort of a mix of things at the moment. And yeah, I think it's important too, because there's a different product for everyone. So it's important to make sure that you're sort of covering all your bases and not missing out on anything.
Makes sense. Do you prefer the one-to-one aspects of personal training? Do you prefer the group side of things? Do you have a preference, or is it just all sort of part of the role? What are your thoughts?
One-to-one's got to be your bread and butter. I think I love doing one-to-ones. I love sort of the program. Again, my job, what I get satisfaction out of is seeing people progress, whether that's gain weight, lose weight, gain muscle, lose muscle, get stronger for their couch to 5K that they're trying to do. So that's what I love doing. But yeah, it's the group sessions are fun as well. If I'd be lying if I said that everyone, when I've got a group of 25 and I'm taking a class or taking a circuit session, if I'm critiquing every single one of their forms when they're doing a clean and press, I'd be lying if I said I was doing that, because I can't do that. But yeah, I think it's good from sort of the trainer's point of view as well. It's good to break up your week, to not always be going in and going, right, I've got 10 one-to-one sessions today, back to back. Like, I've got a class, and then I've got a little break, and then I've got 4 one-to-ones, and then I've got a circuit session, and I've got 2 friends that train together. I think it keeps me on my toes as well. But yeah, I enjoy all aspects of it, really. But yeah, I think definitely sort of the one-to-one training and getting to know sort of the people that I work with on a personal level as well. That's really important to me. So I'd probably say that's the thing that I enjoy doing the most. Yeah.
So, I mean, what would you say that, I mean, there's often some resistance, and certainly when you first get started to delivering, whether you want to call large group PT, whether it's classes or whatever the terminology is, maybe it's a little bit more daunting because you've got a group of people. So there tends to be a little bit of resistance potentially to delivering group exercise. Do you think that there's a benefit to your one-to-one business from delivering classes?
Yeah, as I said before, I think it's definitely, again, going back to when I first started and working at Exercise for Less. I didn't know anyone in there. They didn't know me. The most, I'm seeing them saying hello to people when they walk in the door, and then I'm taking their classes. So I just thought that, in my mind, I thought, right, if I can just make these classes fun, enjoyable, and I can make them the best that they can be, that's going to mean that after the session, people are going to come up and they're going to talk to me and they're going to say, oh, thank you, I really enjoyed that. And then again, as I'm sure you know, that then turns into asking them, oh, what else are you doing at the gym today? What sort of training do you normally do? And then before you know it, you know their injury history, you know every single time, do you know what I mean? You know what they do in the gym, and then and again, it's a conversation that then can transfer into, oh, well, if you've got an hour free next week, I've got an hour free next week. If you want, we can do an hour, or we can sit down and have a chat for 20 minutes, little consultation, and we can go and do 45-minute one-to-one session. And yeah, when I first started, I picked up quite a few clients that way, sort of just by literally having a conversation with someone when they walked in the door or after a class, if I had a break. And then sort of, showing them that you cared and that there was ways that you could help them, ways that they could help themselves, things that they weren't currently doing, whether that was nutrition or sort of mobility routines or stretching, things as simple as that. And yeah, again, that's something that with my business, it's not, sort of I pride myself very much on, everyone's different and everyone comes to me for a different reason. As I already mentioned, some people are going to want to lose weight, but I think that's a big misconception. Like, I think people, they see someone working with a trainer and they think, oh, they want to lose fat, they want to lose weight, they want to get lighter. But a lot of the time, there's literally so many other different reasons that I could reel off why people come and work with me and train with me. And I say to everyone all the time, it's not, I don't want to have to train you for 2 years, 3 years. Like, I don't want that. I want you to work with me for a short period of time, learn these habits, learn what you need to do, learn this, learn that. But then the reality is that they stay longer than that because they then enjoy the training and they enjoy working with you. So
they make new goals, don't they? They make new goals because they buy into a good PT is a great listener.
Yeah.
Then effectively they build trust in you, don't they? There's no reason for them to leave, fortunately. Which is how you do your business. So, well, what about when you first started as a PT, is it kind of what you thought it was going to be, or is it any different?
There were yes and no. Like, I knew that I was going to be training people, but I didn't, at the time, I didn't understand that, like I already mentioned to you, I didn't understand everyone's different. I had it in my head, right, I have to have this absolute beast of a session plan for every single person. They're going to need to crawl out of this gym and they're going to have to have their food and go to bed that night and then sleep for 10 hours because they're going to be so tired. But again, I didn't really, it took me a while to get an understanding that, a 25-year-old guy was going to need a different session to a 70-year-old lady. So from that point of view, I think I picked it up quite quick, to be fair. And then again, as I'm sure as you know, we're there to push people, but for a safe push, if that makes sense. So it's not to the point where they train and then, like, as I said, they crawl out the gym, or they're going 5 minutes to go, they're going to be sick in the toilet, or but then, on the flip side of that as well, it can't be a session where you can't train someone to the point where they're not pushed. So you have to sort of find that balance. And it did take me a while to find that. I think that was the biggest challenge, really, sort of understanding that everyone needs different things. Definitely.
Really good point. I think we've all done that before, haven't we? We've effectively beasted somebody from within an inch of their life, and you don't see them again, or if you do, it's a month later and they avoid you like the plague. And then you've got on the other extreme where you potentially don't train somebody hard enough, and they wanted more from you. So you're right, it is striking that sort of that balance between each client, and once you get that right, then I think they're pretty much there to stay. So what about one thing that you wish you'd known before you got started, and what would that be?
Do you know what? It could potentially just be that. It could potentially be that every session doesn't have to be like the gold trophy session, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't have to be, and it's that things can change in the session as well. If you're doing, I don't know, you're doing a lower body session and they've done 3 or 4 really, really taxing exercises, like, you don't need to stick to the plan that you've got. You can always mix it up. It's about what they're going to take away from the session, the client. If you've done, realistically, if you or I are going to train, Carl, are we going to do, if we're doing a lower body day, are we really going to do like 7 or 8 different exercises, 4 sets, all on our glutes or all on our hamstrings? We're probably not, are we? So, I think, just that Yeah, I think that's definitely a thing that that's definitely a thing that I'd say, yeah.
Okay. What about tech? Do you use any tech in your sessions either now or before? Or
In terms of tech, I'd say the thing that is definitely the most valuable in terms of tech is my Apple Watch. I think
okay,
I'd definitely, honestly, I don't know how, or even just a smartwatch. I mean, my Apple Watch, is the main reason why it saves my life is when you're doing classes,
Mhm.
if your phone's hooked up to the sound system, which most people would do, I guess, you can control the volume from your watch. So if I'm doing a studio class, I don't have to, at the end of the set, and then I need to tell everyone what we're doing next. I don't have to go over to the system to turn it down, to come back to explain, to go back to turn it up, to go back to come and carry on the session, if that makes sense. You can, there's a wheel on the side of the watch and you can turn it up and down. And it's the same for the spin classes as well. Like you're on the bike, and depending on, like, in our spin studio, the bike's probably like 1.5 meters away from the sound box. So sometimes you'd have to get off, or you'd have to really reach over to try and turn it down if you need to in between songs, or if there's something you have to tell everyone really quickly. So I'd say definitely for me that saves my life. And also stop clock on it as well. So if I'm doing something with someone that means it needs to be timed, I just think it's so much more professional just to have it on your watch, rather than, I know some people would get their phone out and do it, but I just think it looks so much more professional, and it's a lot tidier just to go, right, you're doing it now, bosh, off you go, touch the watch, and then you're in straight away, rather than getting your phone out, unlocking your phone, and then people on the other side of the gym think you're with someone and you're texting your mates or something like that. Yeah.
that's the thing that that members do get this misperceived sort of perception that another PT on their phone again while he's training a client, and it doesn't paint the right kind of picture. But well, that's an interesting tip. It's an interesting tip. I do know of a trainer that used to literally stand by wouldn't leave the comms cabinet throughout the entire session. You have to keep turning the sound up and down, and you can't deliver much of an experience when you
I know. Yeah.
volume control. So that's
But for me, it's a lifesaver. Like I know lots of other personal trainers, and they don't like. I'm not saying you have to have an Apple Watch, but something that works with your phone, which means you can change the volume. Like I don't get how they do it. Like I don't know how they do it in the classes. They have to run all the way over there, turn it down, and then back out. And it's just something like that. So simple, but it saves me so much hassle and aggravation.
all right. Well, good tip. What about kit? I'm conscious that well, most of us, certainly in England right now, have had our gyms removed from us, and we're looking to continue looking after our clients. So, are there any particular bits of kit that you either couldn't live without, or is there a solution to everything?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely made everyone take a second look at their step in their garden and realize that there's so many things you could do with that. Like you don't need all these fancy stuff. You don't, obviously the machines are good, but you don't need them. Yeah, it's a lot safer using machines, and it's a lot more convenient, but there's so much you can do without. I'd definitely say I think the most sort of diverse piece of kit has definitely got to be like a squat rack, or it's got to be like a power rack, because you can do especially in the gym, you can do so many different exercises on there. You can squat, deadlift. A lot of them have chin-up bars on as well. I know the ones in our club do. You can do overhead presses. You can do rows. If you've got a bench and put it there, you could do chest presses, things like that. So I think definitely we're lucky at ours. We have, bloody hell, I think 7 or 8 power racks. So we're very lucky in that sense when ours are upstairs. So when I'm taking someone upstairs to go and train at the start of their session, I know that there's probably going to be one of those free. So like if I need to go on one, then it's always good to have one of those free, because you can always jump on there and do something.
So how have you managed to adapt your sessions now? Obviously, you've not got that. I mean, I know you've got a pretty cool setup actually in your garden, but now we can't use our gardens, and we can't clearly again gain access to a gym. So, what have you found a way around doing that kind of training, or is it that's in the majority that your clients are looking to lose weight? So, to be fair, body weight exercises are something that you can adapt at the
From a selfish point of view, I mean, like you just said, I've got my garden. I know at this period in time no one's allowed to go in there, but I've just got it's really simple. It's a gazebo. I've got a barbell, I've got some dumbbells, some adjustable dumbbells. I haven't got a squat rack or a power rack, but I've got something that's very, very close to it. So as long as I've got the motivation to go out there and do it, then I can get it done. It's not going to be as pretty as going in the gym, and it's not going to be as satisfying, but you know what, it might be if you get out there and you grit your teeth and you get through it for an hour and 15 minutes, and it probably is just as satisfying. But yeah, in terms of like my business and people that I work with, yeah, I mean, I think everyone gets caught up in, you've got to be doing like fancy exercises and you've got to be doing the new latest thing, whatever that is. But as you just mentioned, the reality of it is all we need to do if someone was looking to lose body fat is a calorie deficit for a start. So that's got nothing to do with the gym. That's the thing that everyone can control at the moment. Even if the gyms are shut, you can still control what goes in your mouth, can't you? So that's the most important thing. But yeah, just to get people moving. Like I've been out, still been doing hour sessions with people, meet at mine, and then normally go for depending on how they feel, either a 10 to 15-minute run, and then just a few bits of equipment that I can take out there. People are doing more bodyweight exercises, definitely. I've got a big like tractor tire, so people can jump on that. They can do mountain climbers, they can do lots of different plank variations, dips, push-ups, squats, so many things. So it's more, if anything, people that I've worked with over the past, what is it now, a week since they've shut, they've actually said that it's harder doing that, going outside, that session that I put on for them, than when we go to the gym. When you're in the gym, you do this piece of equipment and then you have a 2-minute rest, because then you have to walk to the next one and then explain what you're doing, and then you do 3 or 4 sets there, and then you're back upstairs or you're doing something. So they actually get more rest. I think people, in a bad way, I think people probably get more value for their money because they get less time chit chat and less time walking around the gym than when they're outside.
Well, then that brings me on to, how have you adapted your business? So how many sessions were you delivering in the gym prior to going into this second one?
I think normally if I had a good week, everything included, so classes, circuit training, 1-to-1s, 2-to-1s, probably around 40 hours of work a week. Wow. Don't get me wrong, there'd be weeks where that would suddenly turn into 28 because 3 people would have sick children and they wouldn't be able to come in because they had symptoms, or or 1-to-1, people get stuck at work, or they have to pick up, it's hard times, people have to pick up extra shifts if they get offered them at work. So but yeah, if I had a good week, it was 40. In terms of 1-to-1s, probably maybe just a couple of classes in the circuits out of that, so maybe around 30 sessions. But yeah, fluctuating, obviously week to week, changing, sometimes dipping down a little bit lower than that.
Okay, well, look, that's a considerable amount of sessions per week. So how have you managed to adapt that? Have you managed to get everybody to continue training with you, or are there a few that that didn't want to train outdoors? How have you solved that? How have you moved people across?
So I did say to everyone, said, look, I won't take it personally. I have like a WhatsApp group with everyone, and just said, you need to tell me where you stand at the moment. I said, we can train outside. The weather's actually not been too bad. It's been quite mild. So I said, look, that's always going to be an option. I've done a few people that didn't want to do that, but wanted to carry on training. I've done sort of Zoom calls or FaceTime sessions with them. Again, it's not the same, but there's still so much you can do. People don't understand. But yeah, I did push for everyone to carry on, because I just said, like, it can't be, we don't know when this is going to change. Hopefully, sort of news over the past couple of days, things are going to change. But in theory, this could happen another sort of 5 or 6 times next year, where we could not be allowed to go into a gym, or not be allowed to go and use certain facilities. So I just said to people, I said, look, it's important, especially as well at the moment, like with everything going on, like surely you want to stay healthy and you want to keep not just ticking over, like you want to keep pushing yourself and improving and working towards your goals, whatever they are. So look, I'm not going to take it personally that some people said that they were just going to take a break from the gym, hopefully that they were going to be shut for just 4 weeks. I didn't take that personally, because I understand it's not for everyone coming outside. But I think I did say that, look, if you just try it, I'm sure like you will enjoy it. If we get a day when it's like today, it's sunny outside, it's clear, it's mild, like it's just as enjoyable. And you know what, sometimes, if not maybe a little bit more, getting outside and getting fresh air and changing up from the normal things where we jump on the machines and we do, sort of people that I see that I've had for a long time now, new exercises don't come out every single week. Like, and the most important things are the basics anyway. So for doing very, very similar exercises with similar bits of equipment in the gym, going outside and flipping a tractor tire over or doing push-ups on a park bench, like you might just enjoy it. So yeah, I'm still doing a fair bit outside, but not as much.
Okay, so what did maybe 50% of your clients took?
Yeah, I'd say definitely 50% of my work is still going to carry on. So I might have just under 20 hours of work a week. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's it's a way to adapt, isn't it? And what about your Zoom calls? I mean, there's a multitude of ways to deliver online PT, and the more I suppose the more popular online PT solution is more app based, and it automates a lot of your processes and a lot of your systems. You might have an email chain that stays in touch with your clients rather than you personally. So that's a way to deliver online PT. But what I've certainly seen in over this year is that his online PT can also be delivered in a way, a bit like you've mentioned, via a Zoom call, where it's still sort of personal training. The only difference is you're not in front of that person. You're using the medium of a camera and a phone and a laptop. So have you found that clients find that as engaging, or
Yeah, I think it's hard because everyone's going to be different. Some people you need to push more than others. And I've had that, like I've done sessions with people that don't need any push whatsoever. I'll say, you're going to do 50 push-ups now, and they'll go, okay, like, can you count them while I do them? And they'll do them.
Yeah.
And then I'll have some people where I'll say, right, you're going to do this, and they'll say, oh no, I don't think I can do that. But yeah, I found as long as I've got a plan and I know what I'm going to do for that session, and don't get me wrong, like I haven't, people that I've been doing the online sessions with are people that I know already, that I've trained in the gym. So I can't comment on if I had new people and they said, oh no, I'm not doing it, I can't do it. I don't know what I'd say because I haven't been in that situation. But yeah, having, as I mentioned earlier, having a feel for what people need and what they can do and what they're just being lazy and they're not being bothered doing. Sometimes it can be a little bit, not awkward, but you need to have a plan. You need to know what you're doing. So if I called you now and I said, and I didn't know what session we were going to do or what the next exercise was, then it could backfire. But yeah, as long as you know what the session is and you know that, look, I've worked with these people in the gym, so I know what their current sort of like fitness levels like and what is going to be hard for them and what's going to be challenging and what's going to be too much as well. So as long as I adapt each thing to the people in front of me, then yeah, you need to keep motivating them. And I find it's best as well to still have a laugh and a joke with them and still break up the session. So not do one thing straight into the next thing, still ask them what they're doing today and still have a bit of chat with them, conversation with them as well. Right? Otherwise, they're just doing squats and push-ups for an hour. And like, we wouldn't really do that in the gym. We'd have breaks in between. So yeah, a good plan, and still break it up and give them rest periods and push them, but make sure it's something that is going to be achievable, definitely, rather than saying squat jumps for 10 minutes.
Fair play. What about pricing? Have you kept that on par with what you were charging? Have you discounted for any reason? And if, well, let me ask you those questions first. Have you kept the pricing the same?
Yeah, it's something that I really did think about. I mean, what I've done is, well, most of my clients pay monthly. So for the month ahead, they'll tell me when they want to train, and then we work out how many sessions that is, and then I invoice them for that. But yeah, what I've just said, to be fair, again, most of mine are really good. They still want to support me. And I think a lot of this, through everything as well, I think sometimes we forget that a lot of people are still even though they're at home, they're still working, and they're still working full time, and they're still getting their full wage. So again, without sounding maybe like selfish, but like, if they wanted your services then, they can still pay for your services now, if that kind of makes sense.
Absolutely.
And not to feel guilty about that, even though we're doing something different. We're doing an online session, we're doing an outside session. Like, my job is, I'm a trainer, and I'm training you. So in that sense, it's the same. If at the moment you wanted to go and see a doctor, you can't do that at the moment. But if you had private healthcare and you had a doctor and you had to call them, like how we're doing now, I'm pretty sure that would still be the same rate. And if this was a consultation with a doctor, a private doctor, it would still be the same. So that's sort of the way that I look at it, and I try not to feel guilty. I always think as well, I had the conversation with another trainer, and we were talking about the pricing. I said, you'll get them on board if we charge them 10, 15 pounds a session outside. But then when you say to them, right, this is going to be double, maybe if not more, when we go back into the gym, I think it's then going to be harder for them to transfer into that. I think if you say to them now, look, this is the cost, but it's going to stay the same when we go into the gym, I feel like people are more likely to stay with you and then continue having their business when you go back into the gym.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I think, you've said that your service isn't any different, and it's not. If effectively as a trainer now you're selling time, they're still getting the hour with you, and whether that's delivered via a PC, whether that's delivered outside, it's the same. So I've had conversations with quite a few trainers recently about just that. They feel like they should discount their service right now for a number of reasons. And my advice is like yours, is that there is no need to. The other side of things is that those clients potentially that are still working, and they're working from home now, potentially they've got maybe there are some people
less expenditure,
because they're not traveling to work anymore. So not for everybody, but it's potential. So what's the best bit of advice that you'd offer to a new PT starting in the industry right now? I did see a post on social media the other day of somebody that literally had started their role the day the gyms were closed. What would be the best advice you'd give to that person?
Just to make sure that everything's in place for when the gym does open back up. I'm quietly confident that it will just be 4 weeks and then we'll be back in. So if I was a new trainer now, I could go up to people on the street and I could ask them if they wanted a free personal training session. 1 out of 10 of those people are probably going to say yes. And then you could say, look, I'm starting out. We can do this over the next 3 weeks. And then if you enjoy it and you like it, you can then come into the gym. So just to get things like that in place, I think sort of maybe like a bit of your marketing as well, and make sure that your socials and just something as simple as having business cards ready to go, so you can pop them on the front desk when you come in. And then you're going to get leads without even trying. I have sort of the pop-up banners as well in my gym, the ones that you pull and you stick the pole in behind. So when people come in the gym, they open the door, the first thing they see is
smiley face.
My company, I guess. Yeah, that's the first thing that they see. So whether they look at it and take it in or not, like, it's there. So again, even if 50% of people look at that and go, oh, that's the trainer that works here, then in the future people will say, if they want any help with anything, then they're more likely to come to me, aren't they? So you could just say the same. Look, if you've got 10 personal trainers in your gym, there might already be things like that in place, but everyone can get business cards. You can get if you've got a logo, you can get obviously that put on your card and put it on some clothing as well. That's something that everyone can still do at the moment. You could get you could get that going. But yeah, most important thing I'd say is make sure that you've got potentially people that you can work with when the gyms open back up. So if that meant go and do a free session, or you could even go and have a consultation with someone over the park. I know, it's not glamorous, but that could be a way that you could potentially find people that want to work with you.
I think all your answers today, mate, have all been about how you should adapt, and there's obviously a positive way to view anything, I suppose. So my final question to you, and thank you for your time today, is 2020 has been an unusual year for everybody. What if anything has been the most positive thing that 2020 has done for you?
Not to take things for granted, I guess. But yeah, I mean, in terms of positivity this year for me is that I know that I've had how many months now? Probably, what did we have? We had January to March, didn't we? And then we've had, so how many months have we had in the gym? 5 or 6 out of this year?
If that, yeah.
Yeah, so let's say it's 5 months. So I think in the 5 months that I've had now, even though it's been disrupted, I think from a personal point of view, my business is going really well, and a lot better than I expected as well. So it must mean that I'm doing something right. So from my point of view, you know, looking forward to next year, if we can get a good 12 months in a row, it could be exciting to see where things could go and what could be the next step as well. But I think in terms of not just me, but yeah, everyone else, just maybe, yeah, just appreciate things a little bit more, not take things for granted. Yeah, just maybe just, again, I know it's a bit sort of cliche, but just enjoy the little things, enjoy being able to go to the gym, enjoy being able to go get coffee and go and see your family and go to the pub on a Sunday and things like that. I think it's, yeah, when hopefully in the near future, when we can go and do those things again, I think they're going to be a lot more enjoyable.
Really good point. Calum, thank you very much for your time, mate, today. Really helpful, and good to catch up, buddy.
No problem, mate. Thank you.